Have you ever wondered why your friend adores broccoli, but to you, it tastes like cardboard? Or why some people can't get enough of spicy food, while others reach for the milk after just a hint of chili? These are not just matters of preference. They are linked to a fundamental aspect of our being, our gustatory perception. This is the process through which we perceive and interpret tastes, and it varies greatly among individuals. Now, imagine a world where everyone tastes everything exactly the same way. Would we all love the same foods? Would we all hate the same ones? It's a curious thought, isn't it? And yet, the reality is far more complex and intriguing. So why do we perceive taste differently? What factors come into play? Are there ways to manipulate our taste buds? Stay tuned as we delve into the fascinating world of gustatory perception and its fallibility. To understand why we taste things differently, we first need to understand what gustatory perception is. Gustatory perception is a term that might sound a bit complex, but it's really just a fancy way of saying how we taste things. Now, let's break it down. Gustatory perception is all about how our brain interprets the signals it gets from our taste buds. Think of your taste buds as little reporters, sending back news about what's happening in your mouth to the brain. And the brain, like a news editor, interprets these signals into something we understand: the taste. We generally recognize 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Sweet is what we associate with sugars, sour with acids, salty with salt, obviously, bitter with things like coffee or dark chocolate, and umami, the 5th taste, is a bit harder to describe. It's often referred to as savory or meaty, and is found in foods like cheese, tomatoes, and soy sauce. But our perception of taste is not just a one-to-one translation of these signals. It's influenced by a whole host of factors, like our genetics, our age, and even our culture. For example, some of us are genetically predisposed to find certain foods bitter, while others might find the same food sweet. As we age, our sense of taste can change too. Ever wondered why kids tend to reject bitter foods like broccoli, but adults can't get enough of that morning cup of bitter coffee? That's gustatory perception at work. And then there's culture. The foods we grow up eating can shape our taste preferences. For instance, if you were raised in a household that loved spicy food, you might find yourself reaching for the hot sauce more often than someone who grew up without it. So, as you can see, gustatory perception is not as simple as it may seem. But what happens when it fails us? Now that we understand gustatory perception, let's explore how it can sometimes lead us astray. Gustatory perception, as we've learned, is our ability to taste the 5 basic flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. But what happens when this system isn't as reliable as we think? Let's start by discussing a phenomenon known as supertasting. Some individuals, known as supertasters, possess an enhanced sense of taste, particularly towards bitterness. This is due to an increased number of taste buds compared to the average person. For a supertaster, a simple plate of Brussels sprouts can taste unbearably bitter, while the average taster might find them merely a bit strong. This heightened sensitivity can even extend to other flavors, making supertasters more discerning or sometimes more picky when it comes to food. Now, let's shift gears to a substance called miraculin. Found in the fruit of the miracle berry plant, this protein binds to the taste buds and alters our perception of taste. After consuming miraculin, sour foods like lemons and limes suddenly taste sweet. Imagine biting into a lemon as if it were an orange, without any of the usual puckering and wincing. That's the power of miraculin. These examples highlight the fallibility of our gustatory perception. Our sense of taste isn't always a reliable gauge of what we're really consuming. Apart from natural variations like being a supertaster, external factors like miraculin can also temporarily transform our taste experience. This isn't to say that our taste perception is fundamentally flawed. Rather, it's a reminder that our senses, while brilliantly capable, are also susceptible to influence and variation. In the world of flavors, nothing is truly as simple as it seems. So even our taste buds can play tricks on us. But how does this fallibility affect our judgment of flavors? When we talk about flavors, we're not just talking about the basic tastes. Flavor is a complex sensory experience. Indeed, our perception of flavor is a multifaceted process that involves more than just our taste buds. Picture this. You're biting into a ripe, juicy mango. The initial burst of sweetness on your tongue is just one part of the experience. The aroma of the fruit, the smooth texture as you chew, and even the vibrant orange color all contribute to your perception of the mango's flavor. This multisensory experience is what we often refer to as flavor, and it's much more complex than simply tasting sweet, salty, sour, bitter, or umami. But here's where things get interesting. Our gustatory perception, or our ability to perceive taste, is fallible. It can be influenced by a range of factors, from our genetic makeup to our past experiences with food. For instance, supertasters, individuals with an unusually high number of taste buds, often find certain foods too bitter or spicy. Their heightened sense of taste may lead them to avoid these foods, despite their nutritional value. Similarly, exposure to certain substances can alter our taste perceptions. Take miraculin, for example. This protein, found in the miracle fruit, can temporarily make sour foods taste sweet. Imagine biting into a lemon and tasting the sweetness of a sugar cube. That's the power of miraculin. Even our visual cues play a role in our perception of flavor. Research has shown that we often judge the taste of food based on its color. A red apple might be perceived as sweeter than a green one, even if they have the same sugar content. All of these factors contribute to our unique taste experiences,